Now, Reid, we started CPI Capital amid COVID pandemic, and we saw firsthand the anxiety investors felt when COVID first started.
Sure.
But then all the fears evaporated when the government started printing $2 trillion and literally started handing it out to people. And I believe another $1.5 trillion is being printed, added to that amount shortly. But we saw the market go on a bull run never seen before, which it is still in now. Maybe you can walk us through how you felt, Reid, when COVID got serious and then eventual reversal that took place within the market exploding.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, first of all, I didn't even know what $1 trillion looked like. It's a 1,000 billion, right?
Yes.
Is it?
And a billion's 1,000 million. So I mean, I can't even fathom with the money that's being thrown out there. But I'll never forget. So it was. I do a multifamily call internally at SVNI. I run the call for all the multifamily focused advisors across the country, and it was always the last Thursday of the month. So I'll never forget. April 2020, going into May 2020, I had guest speakers on that were lenders. And the lenders, I remember saying, make sure you tell your owners and operators to brace themselves for 25 to 50% at best collections the first part of May. And having gone through 2008, 9, and 10 in this business, I remember getting off of that call and at dinner to my wife, I said, should we stop paying our mortgage so we can just start, piling up money, in case we go through a 3 or 4? I mean, I thought it was going to be a 5-year downturn from, some of the stuff I was hearing initially. And it never happened. We went through May, nothing happened. We went through June, nothing happened. July, the entire summer. Then we went, we're in November of, 2020 and nothing was happening. In fact, like you said earlier, cap rates were starting to compress for some reason. Price values went sky high, even though there were eviction moratoriums across, especially across the United States. But what I found was a lot of the office and retail buyers stopped buying. They froze their acquisitions on that end, and they jumped into the multifamily space. And so you had a number of groups that never looked at multifamily starting to drive the prices through the roof within multifamily. And we do affordable as well. So one of the hottest lending tickets was project-based Section 8, because since the government's printing money, the government is going to pay their rent. Mm-hmm. So the cap rates compressed on the affordable housing immediately, and then multifamily, it's been unreal. I have one client that I was talking to, 3 months ago, and he's pretty aggressive. And he said, look, we have over $370 million under contract, we're bidding on $370 million with the multifamily. And, his ego said, I think we're going to get all of it. And so then I followed up with him a couple of months later and said, so, how are things going? He said, we didn't even get invited back to the table on any of the deals. And this is, you're talking about a group that was outbidding other people by $1 million or $2 million on deals. So it's just amazing. It feels a little bit like, the 06, 07 condo craze days. I don't know if that happened up in Canada, but here in the United States, it was, the condo craze was 05, 06, 07. And everybody was saying, how can these groups afford to pay this price? And then we found out in 08, they couldn't, because they lost it all. So feels a little bit like that, but I don't see all the metrics that everybody ended up seeing in 2006 and 7 and 8. So this is a little bit different.
Yeah. And just to add to a couple of your points there with different sectors kind of getting involved in multifamily, the office space, retail, and with hospitality. You got to understand that a lot of these big firms now, with us being smaller firms, we know how important it is bringing on a virtual assistant or a contractor, and how hard it is to find the right person. Now, imagine these larger funds when they bring on, certain executives on board or certain key employees. you can't lose them. You got to deploy that capital. You got to keep recycling. So they need to deploy it. So multifamily was the next best thing. And, there was so much money that was, being invested in multifamily. So it started, making multifamily go hyperbolic. So I just wanted to kind of add that, because some of these firms, they have to buy, and in some cases they have to sell as well, because they make their profits off performance fees.
Yeah, good point, August. Definitely.